Welcome back. As always, while checking out the latest tools on AIagentstore.ai, we spotted something that tackles a problem you have probably run into.
Yeah, skyrocketing API inference costs.
Exactly. So today we are looking at Astrolabe. It is an open source, totally free AI model serving platform.
Right. At its most basic level, um, Astrolabe acts as a policy-driven, OpenAI-compatible routing proxy.
Right.
It basically sits like a smart intermediary right between your client and OpenRouter.
And what caught my eye about that setup is the routing logic.
Mm.
Because routing to cheaper models makes sense in theory to save money, but how does it actually know a cheaper model can handle a complex prompt without giving you a terrible response?
That is the really clever part of its core function. Before Astrolabe even sends your request out, it classifies the complexity of the
Oh,
prompt.
so it checks it first.
Exactly. It runs the request through necessary safety gates and then automatically routes it to the most cost-effective model that is actually capable of doing the job.
So it is quietly protecting your budget on the routine stuff. But looking at the features, the way they handle failovers really stood out. They use fallback chains.
Which is a lifesaver.
It really is. Imagine your primary provider goes down right in the middle of a big deployment. Usually, that is a 3 a.m. pager alert for you.
Yeah.
But Astrolabe just silently and instantly reroutes that traffic to another option to keep things running smoothly.
It handles provider outages effortlessly. But what happens if the provider is up, but the model just gives a bad answer?
Good question.
That brings in the escalation feature. For non-stream responses, Astrolabe actually runs a confidence self-check on the output.
Wait, it checks its own work.
Yeah. If the result isn't quite up to par, it automatically bumps your request up to a stronger, more capable model to get it right.
I can see how that saves a lot of headaches and manual oversight. And it doesn't seem to add a lot of bloat to your systems either.
Doesn't, and developers and engineers will really love the architecture here. It operates with constrained autonomy,
Meaning it stays out of the way.
completely out of the way. It is intentionally small and perfectly stateless, meaning it requires absolutely no database or UI.
So it sits incredibly lightly on your infrastructure.
Exactly. Plus, it returns all your routing metadata straight through response headers and offers structured logs for complete operational visibility.
The math here is pretty straightforward. Whether you are an AI, software, or DevOps engineer, this tool reduces your inference costs by routing routine traffic to cheaper models.
Right.
You only end up paying for the heavy hitters when absolutely necessary.
Which raises an important question to mull over.
What is that?
Well, if small, completely stateless routing proxies can autonomously manage cost, safety, and model escalation on the fly, how might this shift our industry away from relying on single, massive AI models toward fluid, multi-model ecosystems?
That is definitely something to think about as you build your next project.
For sure.
That wraps up our quick look for today. If you want to explore this tool, you can find the link over at AIagentstore.ai. Thank you so much for tuning in, and a huge thank you for rating the podcast. We will catch you next time.